Well, good morning, Southeast Arkansas. It is time for our morning devotional. And our devotional this morning is entitled, Gird Up Your Loins. And our devotional verse is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 13. Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. We have a phrase down here in the South that's called hike up your drawers. I've used that expression myself or referred to hiking up my own drawers many times. And that just means to gird up your loins. And gird up your loins is the root phrase for the word that we see in our above verse, being prepared. Other Bible versions actually say to gird up the loins of your mind. In Roman days, men wore flowing tunics rather than pants. Before you went into combat or performed any kind of work or manual labor, you had to tuck all that stuff away in your belt or it would just flow around everywhere and get in your way. You had to hike up your drawers and roll up your sleeves before doing the task at hand. In a nutshell, you did not want anything to get in your way. You know, our Christian lives ought to constantly be about doing some sort of work. And when we're not working, we may find ourselves in conflict with demonic forces. In truth, when we do work, that may be the time that happens even more, but that's another post for another day. The point here is that Christians should be busy, and when they are, they need to have nothing that gets in their way or that trips them up. Just like we have to really gird up our loins or tuck all the loose stuff away in our belt to physically work, we must gird up the loins of our minds to do the Lord's work. We need to get stuff out of the way. Friends, preparing ourselves for Christian work, it's not an afterthought, and it doesn't happen by accident. It's a choice. And it's a choice we have to make before wading into the fight. Your pants will not tuck themselves into your belt, and your mind will not make itself free of clutter either. Additionally, if you start trying to tuck that rope in your belt once the fighting begins, it's too late. And the same is true of your mind. Preparation is the key, and it must be intentional. So how do we clear our minds? It seems obvious, but the first step is to fill our minds with the things of God and not the things of the world. You know, most of us only have so much room up there, and we can choose what we put up there. Are you filling your mind with God's word or a word from the world? We must pray and pray often. If you let Him, God will fill your mind and your heart with His thoughts. Again, good in, bad out. My friends, the choice is yours. Are you going to start work with your mental drawers flopping around and all up in your way? Or will you use the tools that you have available, such as study and prayer, and gird up the loins of your mind for the work God has for you? Have a blessed day in the Lord, my friends.